Hello fellow Minecraft addicts, Jarbo here. Today we are going over a couple of the different redstone items that you can activate and the different ways that you can activate them. This is just touching the surface. This is very basic, but hopefully after this you'll have an understanding of the different things that you can start to do with redstone at the basic level. I'm going to try to be careful to clearly differentiate the difference between activating an item and powering an item or block. It's different, and it led to some confusion for me as I was trying to learn how to make redstone do what I wanted it to do. And so I'm going to go over that and try to help you understand that. And then second disclaimer is I play on Bedrock. And I know there's differences between the way things work on Bedrock and Java. I don't play Java. I've never played Java, so I can't tell you that this is going to work on Java. Some of it might be the same. Some of it's very different. So just be aware of that. And as far as I know, consoles and mobile work the same as Bedrock, but I also, again, don't play on those. So I have no way of testing this to make sure that everything is the same. So now we're going to get into actually talking about some of those items. The first one we have here is just a fence gate. And just like our door in our redstone contraption from the last episode, when you power a fence gate, it opens. When you unpower it, it closes. And if you open it by manually, it'll stay open. But then if you power it, it doesn't open, but it does close. So that's kind of handy if you want to have like an auto close on your pens for your animals or something. You can put a pressure plate down. When you walk out, it'll close the door behind you, so you're not born in a barn. The second thing is doors, and they work the same as fence gates. You can open them and then they close when they lose power. If you open them, they stay open, and when you power them, they don't open, but they close when they lose power again. Trapdoors work a lot the same as doors. They open and then close when they lose power. And again, they'll open, stay open. But if you power them, when they lose power again, they'll close. Next on our list is note blocks. And they play whatever note they're set to when they receive a redstone signal. And you can put these on different blocks, and they make different noises or different sounds, and I think it changes the instrument. I'm not exactly sure how note blocks work. I just know you can power them with redstone, and it won't change the block. The level of the signal going to them doesn't change the note. The only way to change the note is to actually click on it, as far as I know. Again, I don't use note blocks much, but that was one of the things that you could power, so it's in here. Armor stands, they will take a pose depending on the level of redstone signal they receive. So let's go over here. You can see, I don't know exactly how far we are, but that armor stand went to that pose at that signal level. So if we go one closer, it's going to go to a different pose, closer, different pose. So you can, I've seen some cool stuff where you can change the signal level going to them, and you can make them dance and all kinds of other stuff. It's kind of neat. Then you have redstone lamps, not lanterns, not sea lanterns, redstone lamps. And if they receive any kind of signal, they will turn on. When they lose the signal, they'll turn off. It doesn't have to be a full signal. It actually doesn't matter what the signal is. They light up the same way at any signal level. Next we have pistons, and when they receive a redstone signal, they will extend, and they can push up to 12 blocks. And regular pistons retract and leave the blocks where they push them to. Then we have sticky pistons, and when they're powered, they will push up to 12 blocks, one block, and then when they retract, they will bring the block that they're touching back with them. So as you can see there, one comes back, one stays out. That's a sticky piston. And pistons, when you place them, they will place with the face facing towards you. So you have to place them in this configuration here. Next up is dispensers. And a dispenser will use an item. I shoot an arrow, use bone meal, only if the block in front of them is bone mealable, and you could use water buckets and they will pick up and place water. Again, only if the block in front of them is air or water or something that water can be placed in. I don't know if they will waterlog something. We're not going to mess with it here. Next is droppers, and they work a lot like dispensers, except they drop the item as an entity that you can pick up, or you could put in a hopper, or you could put it into lava to burn it, to dispose of items you don't want. A few different uses for droppers. Both of those blocks also place with the face towards you, and as you can see, the dispenser has the O face and the dropper has the little smiley face. And that's how you can tell the difference between those. And then you have TNT, and TNT, well, when it receives a redstone signal, it explodes. Bells, when you give them a redstone signal, they ring. That's not all the blocks that you can activate using redstone, but that's the basic ones, and just a couple so you have some ideas of what you can use. So now we're going to talk about the different ways you can activate or power a block. We're going to start with a redstone block, and when you place a redstone block, it activates all the blocks around it, so it turns all these lamps on. But as you can see from this demonstration here, it does not power the blocks around it, so they can't in turn activate the items that are touching them. None of these lamps are on because these blocks are activated but not powered. Whereas a torch, it activates the blocks around it, but not the one it's attached to. So as you can see there, that torch is attached to that block, so it's not activating that block. If we put the torch on the back there, it activates all of these blocks, but not the one that it's attached to. It's important to note that a redstone torch also powers the block that's above it. So as you can see, that torch is on this block. It's activating the blocks around it, but it's powering that block that's above it. And again, if it's on the back wall there, it still powers the block above it. So then it can activate a block on top of it. And then, so another thing that torches do is they can be used to invert a signal. So as you can see here, we've got a redstone block, and this is just an example to show you that everything doesn't work this way. We have a redstone block there with this button here, and it doesn't do anything. This is activating all those lamps no matter what you do. If you look over here, we have a torch in there attached to this smooth stone here, and that torch is activating all these blocks, but it's powering that block. Well, one thing a torch can do when it's on a block that's powered is it will invert. So that torch is off because it's sitting on a block that's powered. In turn, it is... I just realized something that I was going to do isn't going to work. Okay, so then another thing that you can do with redstone torches is when this torch is on this block, it is powering the block above it. You can see that it's not powering these blocks because this torch is not off. And if we put one over here, it's not off. So when a torch is on a block, the block above it is powered. And when a redstone torch is placed on a block that is powered, it turns off. That's why these two blocks here are not activated or powered. And then these two torches here are powering those two blocks, and that's why those two torches are off. So one thing that you can do with these torch towers is you can invert a signal, and you can also use them to pass a redstone signal straight up, or in this case slightly off. And you can configure these however you want so that you could, if you needed to run this around, this is going to interfere with some of the other stuff, or possibly will. You can have your output come out wherever you want it to based on how you build this torch tower. You could go straight up from there. You can go back up the center. You could go back over there, and you can alter the signal by here one block above we've altered the signal, but here we're 2 blocks above we've altered the signal. So you can change your output at the top based on how you build your torch tower. And as you can see, if I can get a good look at it, you can power that, and that inverts the signal all the way up. So if you wanted to turn something on, you just have to have it going to where this torch was powering it or activating it, and it would turn on when you flipped the output at the bottom. Another thing to note with torches, on some redstone blocks, even though the piston won't activate the blocks around it, as you can see because neither one of those lamps turned on, it will invert the torch. So you can use this. This is used in item sorters and different redstone contraptions where you want to invert a torch but don't want to power the blocks around it or activate the blocks around it. And then my last example for redstone torches here is the opposite of that torch tower. This one's going to pass a signal down. So this redstone torch is powering that red piece of redstone, which is in turn activating or powering this redstone lamp, which is inverting this redstone signal, and so on and so forth, going down, so that when you hit that, it switches the signal. And this at the bottom here is just an example that based on where you put your output, you can have this signal at the bottom either on when that is off or off when that is off, and then that one, when you flip this button, turns on. So you could go on to turn on a machine or a contraption with that block, or if you wanted to turn it off with a button, you could use this side. So when you press the button, whatever you're doing turns off. So this is just a basic explanation of how you can power or activate different blocks based on how you place your redstone, as well as what blocks you use to power it. And just kind of as a final note, a block, just a solid block with a lever on it, with the exception of one face is taken by the lever, I believe will act the same as that redstone block will when the switch is turned on. So it powers all those, or activates all those, but it does not power them, in that you can't pass a signal. The signal stops there. It doesn't go past that. Whereas, like we saw over there, the torch actually powers that block, so the signal does go past it, as you can see here. But just on the top of the redstone, above a redstone torch. Anyway, I hope you found that useful. Maybe you learned something. I learned some stuff building this little example here. I didn't realize that a redstone block wouldn't power the blocks around it. I thought it powered the blocks around it, and it doesn't. It just activates them. So I did learn something when I was building this. Hopefully you learned something watching it. If you want to continue to follow along, subscribe and turn notifications on. I'm going to try to do one of these a week and just get more and more advanced as we go along our green and black trail here. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Bye.